Hello everyone, my name is Joe Bishop and I'd like to show you how to use parts research in SIS. So looking up a part. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we'll start up here with the home page. So whether you're on the phone with a customer or another employee or you're looking up something for yourself, the best bet is going to be to enter a complete serial number. So I'll just go with the one I've been using here for these videos. It's KL202638, which is a little dozer. And I'll just go to whatever you want to look up. So if you had this machine, and for instance, I was wanting to look up seat belt, okay, for this machine. A customer says, hey, I need a seat belt, or you need a seat belt, or whatever the case may be. You can just type that in and let SIS do the work for you. You don't have to type seatbelt. You could hit navigate and go in there and plug down and find it. Oh yeah, here it is in cab or whatever the case may be, and find it that way. But I'm going to take it easy on myself, and I'm just going to do that. So one thing you got to be careful for, what you put in your search bar. Because if I just do belt, I'm going to have a pretty large search come up, because it might be talking about like a fan belt, or or seat belt, or may have more than one belt. So that's going to be kind of big. So we'll try to narrow it down a little bit the best we can. So if I further define it by doing seat belt, it'll probably be more beneficial. All right, so let's see what happens here. So first thing is I've got this right here, product configuration. Because I put in a complete serial number, I get the whole product configuration. Then it's telling me it found seatbelt in the operation and maintenance manual. It found seatbelt in the parts manual. See the little gear here? Gear means parts. It found it in a parts manual under this group number, seat suspension. So that's what I'm looking for, a part now. I'm not really concerned about how to put it on and all that. And then I could come over here and hit this little guy right here, and it's going to show me a picture of it without opening it up. It's like a real quick picture here of it. All right. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Or I could go to product configuration. So product configuration is telling me what all groups come on this. So if you go down here, it says seat group suspension, and it ends in 4240. Okay. So let's just go back. This one here ends in 4244, all right? And then this one here, this group ends in 4240, and also it's got a green tab saying, hey, it found it in product configuration. So I know that's the group that come with this machine. Okay, so I'm a big believer in coming here 4240. That way I know I'm getting the group that this machine come with. There's no, hey, that's what it come with from CAT. All right, or you could go in like we did, and we know it's not 4244. Something's a little different than 4241, and then something's a little different between 43, 41, and 44 on the seat group. But I know this is the one my product come with because it says found in product configuration, 4240. Product configuration, seat group, what did it come with? 4240. Okay, so this is the whole group. So we're looking for a seat belt. So if you come down here, if you order this and you're just wanting a seat belt, well, you done messed up, because you're going to get all of this stuff right here. And that's a lot of stuff's going to come in for someone just needing a seat belt. But seat belt is in this group. So we look down here and we see that, hey, here's seat belt group. It says retract lower. So let me click on that number right there. Okay. And if I do that, it kind of brings it closer and shows me the seat belt. All right. So that's my my seatbelt group, retract, and lower. So just to make sure, what I like to do is you can always copy this number, copy it, and then just go back to your up here, get rid of that, and then paste it right here. And it says, boom, it found it on product configuration. It found it in this group. And then when we come down here, boom, there it is highlighted. So that's my seat belt for this machine. That's the part number it left the factory with, okay? So when we bring up a parts page, a couple of things we need to talk about. All right, so we're dealing with this seat group here. It says it's a vinyl suspension seat, and this is the serial numbers that all it went on, okay? It's part of the ROPS arrangement. ROPS means rollover protective structure. All right, up here is SMCS code. And what that is Service Management Control System. So every time we're dealing with a certain group, they put it in a group and they assign it a number. So 7321, the seatbelt is part of this number right here. Right? So you're like, well, what's that got to do with anything? Well, numbers are more universal. So if we had a failure within this group right here, and we could put this number, that's how it's going to access, hey, there was a problem with something in here. 7321 deals with seat frame. So when Caterpillar gets these claims and they're seeing that it's related to 7321, they know that it's relating to a seat frame. And if they get one from China, a claim, guess what? It's going to say 7321. And if they get a claim from Paris, France, it's going to say 7321. And if they get a claim from Mongolia, since it's a universal product, it's going to be linked 7321. And that service management control system is how they control. They can find out, hey, what is this 7321? Is everyone is talking about it, and it's dealing with a seat frame. That way, it takes a lot of the words and languages out of the equation. All right, so it does list that, and then we're looking down here. We've got an illustrations, so we can make these illustrations larger or smaller by using the slider up here. And then whatever part you're wanting to know about, let's say control group joystick, is number 5. If you click it, it will highlight it and show you where it is. All right, you see that, where's 4 at? Oh, well, right there. Now, it's not too bad right here because it's pretty easy to read, but it could be an illustration with a bunch of parts, and it's going to be hard for you to look at it and say, oh, where's number 11? I don't see it. I don't see number 11. You'd be looking around for it. I don't know how I turned this blue, but there we go. But and you could just simply come over here and go, oh, where is 11? And it takes you right to it. Okay. So when we got this group pulled up here and we're looking for the seat belt, you can add it to a cart. And I'm not going to do it on this video, but just be mindful of that. And this little eye says see more part information. So if you click on it, there was no part history data found. If a lot of times if a part's been replaced by another part, it'll show you the history. It says, hey, this part replaced this part. Okay, so that's something you can use as well. It's over here in these little eyes. Let me see if I can get you a good example here. Not on that one. Nothing has occurred on that one. Yeah, if I found an older product in here, it would probably say, hey, this has been replaced this many times, and this was the original part number, and now what it is. So that's what the little eyes would do. But we're pretty safe right now. It is what it is as far as this seat belt. How many is required? Well, one is required. Okay, so if you add it to your cart, it's going to put however many is required in there. So for instance, this bolt right here, how many is required? 2. So if I hit add to cart and I only need 1, guess what it just put in my cart? 2 of them, because that's what the requirement is. So you got to be careful with that. If you only need 1, you'd have to change it in here to something other than the as required or quantity required. Okay. And you put it on your parts list, which I'm going to talk about on a different video. So a couple more things while we're in here. We're looking at this part, this seat belt, and it says individual parts because we're under this whole group right here, and these are the individual parts of this group. Service articles. So what this means, if I want to find out what articles do I have dealing with service on this seat, this group right here, I don't have to navigate away from this page. I could just go up here to service articles, and it says that, hey, in disassembly and assembly, it's going to tell me how to remove and install the seat. And in the operations and maintenance manual, there's things about seat in there, how to inspect the seat belt, how to replace it, when to replace it, I think it is. And then there's a service magazine. This is a document. This is a document. These are books, like I talked about earlier, okay? And these are different service magazines. The color of the seatbelt webbing is changing on seatbelts for all CAT machines. So you could read that service magazine dealing with it. And then special instruction, installation of seatbelt reminder systems, specs. There'd be specifications on the seat suspension, and then technical information bulletin. These are not recalls, these are bulletins. These are things to watch out for. So if you had a problem with this seat belt and you were sitting here looking up the part, you could say, hey, you know what? Or you got a customer on the phone, you could say, hey, there's something on here about the seat belt not retracting. And you could click on it and find out what's it talking about, okay? Problem, the seat belt can double over and catch inside the retractor. This issue is sometimes seen as a failure and the seat belts are replaced. And the solution would be, there's a video on contains proper seat belt troubleshooting and maintenance, and we can watch a video on channel 1. And the seat belt can be pulled out and corrected. All right, so it's going to tell you a little bit about it, and it's also referring you to channel 1 to watch it, how it does. And there's the address for it right here. Yeah. So, but if you want to go back to the parts now, in SIS 2.0, the back button works. So I always get a little lost. Where am I? Just go back to your back button. It should take you back to where you were. Okay. A couple more technical information bulletins. So, where used. So individual parts is where we started off. Service articles is articles pertaining to this C group, and where used. This is all the different products that this group is used on. So it's used on a D3, a D4, a D5, and they're all K series, okay? So on and so forth. So that's a way to look up parts in using the parts in SIS 2.0. I'll do one more, then we'll take it back from the beginning. A couple different ways you can get there. I'm going to demonstrate a way to do it without using the search. So a little bit more complicated. So KL202638. So if I didn't want to use the search, I just wanted to navigate. And let's say I wanted to look up a fuel injector. Okay, this is what comes up. So I've got product configuration here. So a couple different ways. I could go to engine primary, and I could go to fuel injector that way, or I could come over here, electrical and starting system. I'm not sure. Engine and related systems, that'd probably be my guess. Just go with it. Air and exhaust, basic engine, cooling system, fuel system. Here we go. So we got filter group, fuel, lines, pump, separator, shut off, tank, lubrication system. Well, I really didn't see nothing as far as injectors, right? So we could go to pump group. Maybe it's in this group, injector. Here we go. So it was actually part of the pump group, fuel injection. Go there, click on that, and then we've got my injectors. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit more fussy that way. Probably a more quick way. And of course, the same thing comes up. We got a different SMCS code. We still have the parts here. We've got service articles dealing with an injector. Where used. Okay, wow. Probably anything with a 4.4. And it's got the SMCS number and everything we need going on right here. All right. And we could have done the same thing. Product configuration. We're looking for a fuel injector. Find out what it come with from the factory. I'd probably go, I wouldn't go guard group. I wouldn't go undercarriage. I'd go engine primary. Okay. And then I'd come down. These are all my different groups. Filter, group fuel, flywheel, injector group fuel. Here we go. Okay, now we've got here lines group fuel injector from serial number 1 through 99. It's all of them. Pump group. Prefixes don't matter. It's the same. And then we're back that way. Of course, again, guys, the easiest way, if you wanted to add injectors to this machine, you could you could add them, put them on your card over here, or the best way, like I said before, KL202638, and then just fuel injector. It'd help if I spelled it right. Search that. Okay, so this is a group, fuel injector group. Here we go. It's a whole lot faster that way, but how do I know this is the one that come on my machine? Okay, now pulled it up by serial number, we should be fine, but just to make sure, I'm going to take down that part number 33229, and then what I like to do is come up here to product configuration. Didn't want to click too many. Engine arrangement primary. Okay, we come over here to our, this is what the machine was built with. Injector group fuel. (3229). That's the one that it came with. All right. So that's a quick way of identifying parts and getting parts. Of course, the sky's the limit. I did 2 parts. There's millions of parts and millions, hundreds of different pieces of equipment. So use the search. Be careful with your searches. Sometimes you got to play around a little bit. For instance, CAT don't like the word dipstick. They like level gauge. CAT don't always use the word thermostat. Sometimes they use temperature regulator. So you got to be a little careful with your searches, and be wise that best thing to do is go in with a complete serial number. That way we can get the correct part number instead of just a prefix, if you're able to do that. So I hope it helps. I'll do some more videos on how to put them on a parts list, and we'll go over our parts list. All right. Thank you, and have a good day.